Imagine being able to build anything.
Hello, my name is Timothy Lee Rogers Sr., and I'm the creator of the Smart Money Manuscript. But Tim, what is the Smart Money Manuscript? The Smart Money Manuscript is your roadmap to financial freedom. That's right, your roadmap to financial freedom. Inside, we're going to be discussing things for absolute beginners who never even heard of the stock market or don't know what the stock market is. We're going to teach what is the stock market, what is a stock, what is an index. We're going to teach all of that. We're going to talk about options. We're going to talk about futures. We're going to talk about fundamental analysis, technical analysis. Speaking of technical analysis, we're going to take a deep dive into the ICT concepts. We're going to discuss how to figure out how much you need as an individual to save for your personal retirement. We're going to talk about retirement portfolios. So if you want to be a long-term buy and hold investor, if you want to be a swing trader, if you want to be a day trader, if you want to trade stocks, if you want to trade options, if you want to trade futures, the Smart Money Manuscript is for you. It's dropping on August 6, 2025, which is my birthday and my youngest son's birthday, for $69.99. Yes, $69.99 for all of this here. Mark the date, set it on your calendar, remember it, and I'll see you on August the 6th. Good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? I'd like to welcome y'all to a pop-up weekend chart prep. Yeah, man. All right. Just out of the blue on y'all, just be like, boom. Hey, y'all pull up for a weekend chart prep. It's so out of the blue. I ain't even got my trading view open. Let me open up my trading view. All right. What's going on, man? How y'all doing? Well, got a couple people in here. What's going on, Kim? What's going on, Marco? Everybody. What's happening, man? Everybody had to call everybody off guard. Ain't nobody up in here. That's all right. We don't need a whole lot to do what we gonna do. If hell. I got a link pinned to the top of the chat on. Hey, look at that. We got a gap down. I just opened up my chart. I see we got a gap down. Hey, man. Good evening, everybody. If this is your first time tuning in to Tim's Tidbits, please allow me to say, welcome. If it's not your first time tuning in to Tim's Tidbits, I still want to say, welcome. But I also want to give you a nice hearty, but thank you for always tuning in to Tim's Tidbits. If you don't know who I am, my name is Timothy Lee Rogers Sr., a.k.a. Aranya Grande. That's just big spot if you know hablo Espanol. And hey, man, this is a weekend chart prep / Q&A, if you will. If you got questions, jump on the Zoom link that's pinned to the top of the chat, unmute and say, hola, Tim. I have a question. Ayúdame. What's happening, man? What's going on, Valentine? What's going on, Kim? And everybody else that's tuning in. I ain't gonna hold y'all up, man. It's Sunday evening. I know y'all trying to hang out with your families and all of that right there. So we're gonna get right to it, man. Let me share my screen over there so you can see what I see. We got a gap down over here. Had us a nice little gap down there. That's what I was talking about. On the chart, the NQ with ES did ES gap down, the YM gap down. So all the sisters, all of them gap down. All of them doing it, got a little gappity gap. Right? So we're gonna do our weekend chart prep. For those who haven't had the opportunity to hang out with me on a weekend chart prep, we haven't done one in a while, right? We like to start at the weekly chart. We like to start at the weekly chart. Right. So let's just go to the monthly chart. We're gonna go all the way up. We're gonna go all the way up to the monthly chart this time. Right. Instead of starting at the weekly chart, we're gonna go to the monthly chart. As you see, all right, price has been doing pretty much what we had been expecting price to do. Price had been being price, you know. I don't have a magic wand. I don't have le crystal ball. You know what I'm saying? Nothing like that. Let me see. Do I got a crystal ball laying around here? Well, see. Let me see. I don't have one of these here. You know what I'm saying? I don't have one of these laying around nowhere in in the dungeons. All we do is just study price action. You know what I'm saying? We look at the signatures in price and say, hey, if price does this, then it should do that. Yeah. All right. Let's right now, price been doing what price do. We've traded up into all-time highs. I see that we got commercials popping up on the YouTube side. Y'all know I hate that. All right. We made all-time highs like we were expecting to. We have cleared out last month's high. All right, we've engaged last month's high already on the monthly time frame. All right. Again, we have a monthly fair value gap that's down here. Right. Got inversion fair value gap. That's the inversion. And I never marked out the bullish. So I never marked out this bullish inversion. The last thing I marked out on the monthly chart was that inversion fair value gap right there. That's the inversion fair value gap that we marked out. I never marked out the bullish the bullish fair value gap that we created in the month of May. But we're far, far, far above all of that right now. So that's why I just keep it hidden on my chart. Even the low of May, right? We're far, far above that. So I just keep it hidden on my chart because I don't like to have a bunch of lines on my chart that's not salient. Is that the word I'm looking for right now? It's not salient to current price. Is that the word I'm looking for? Where's my phone? Hey Siri, what does salient mean?
As an adjective, salient means most noticeable or important. Do you want to hear the next one?
Nah, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Sometimes my vocabulary be vocabulary, and you hear me, right? So we've cleared the monthly high, right? And now we've traded back down below it. This is tomorrow's trading day is going to be the 14th, right? So we're halfway through the month, pretty much roughly halfway. We're not exactly halfway, but this week we'll be halfway through the month. Right, we'll be halfway through the month because we've had what's that, 9 trading days? No, yes, 9 trading days in the month so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've had 9 trading days in the month so far, and we have 14 trading days left. We had a holiday, so that's only 8 trading days really. So when we get through this week, like going through this week here, that'll be like the halfway point, right? By the time we get through this week, we'll be halfway done with the month. And we've traded above the monthly high. And right now we've come back down below it. So we're at all-time highs, and price tends to, well, I ain't gonna say tends to, price has to create structure because we're at all-time highs. We have nothing to look up and to the right to. So we have to come up here and then create structure, right? So that's what we're doing. And how do you create that structure? You start forming it on the bottom, from the bottom up. You start forming the structure, right? This right here gives you your narrative, and then the lower time frame starts to form the structure to support the narrative of the higher time frame. Drop down to the weekly, right? On the weekly time frame, right? That's that monthly high right there. I'm going to hide that later. I'm not going to leave that on my chart because it'd be sitting there. Too many lines be there. Last week's high, Last week's low there and there. See, we cleared out last week's high, but we didn't take out the low, and we created a bullish fair value gap on the weekly. Right, that's the bearish fair value gap that we looked at a long time ago. Well, I ain't gonna say long time ago. A couple weeks ago, we were saying we anticipating this to become an inversion fair value gap, and it did on the week of June 23rd. Right, then over the next couple weeks, we haven't traded back down into it. So now week before last, we created a Bessie there. Right, so week before last, we created a Bessie there. Last week, we took out the buy side, made an attempt to get to that Bessie, but didn't quite make it there. Right, didn't quite make it there. Stopped inside the wick of this candle here. Might have stopped inside the wick of this one. Right there, we did. Stopped inside the wick of that one. Let's see, we touched it. Yep, we did. Yep, we did. Right there. So we stopped inside the wick of the, man, that is huge. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 weekly candles making up that humongous order block. Right? Huge order block there. Had 4 down close months in a row, starting back on February 2025, February 18th, 2025. 4 down weeks in a row. All right. That was a rough time in the market there. Man. I don't, you know how we be looking back at price, be like, man, did we go through that? I don't remember it being that rough back in February. Y'all remember it being that rough back in February? February and March dropping like that? Golly. I guess so. That's what the charts say. We traded it because we was here. We was here every day. All right, so that's that weekly Bissy that we marked out last week. Nothing else to see here besides marking out last week's low and high. Nothing else to see here that I want to mark on my weekly chart, right? Because we already marked out that last week. And then this week, we had taken out the buy side, just poked above the buy side, right? Made new all-time highs. Because last week we made all-time highs. Then this week we just poked above it, made a fresh new high, then closed. And this, even though we took out the buy side, this is kind of like an indecision candle here, right? Indecisive, not really giving much on the weekly time frame. It dropped down to a daily, right? On the daily time frame, move over that weekly high. Right. So on the daily time frame, you see here, right? Always doing just engineering liquidity, right? Just here, engineering liquidity, right? We traded up, poked above, made an all-time high, right? But when we look there, right, we almost, for the whole week, we almost, except for on Monday, we poked outside of the body here just a little bit. But for the rest of the week, we stayed inside Thursday's, the bulk of Thursday's range, right? The body, see how we stayed inside there, right? Just on Monday's trading, cause Friday and Monday, I want to say Friday and, was it Friday? Oh no, I'm thinking about the wrong week. No, I'm not. Yeah, Friday, Thursday, Friday, and then Monday. That's when we had like the weird holiday, because remember the weekly calendar had changed because we started trading for real on Tuesday, right? So Friday and Monday, all of that trading was inside here, right? And so that little weird week holiday trading, it poked outside the bottom of that body there, right? but the rest of it stayed inside the body. And we had one little wick that wicked out to new buy side. The Dow in the ES was a lot stronger last week as far as making like all-time highs than the um uh wait a minute. I could have swore this was pushing up higher. Am I thinking about Thursday? Might be thinking about Thursday. But I remember it was a time when it was, oh, that's the YM. I'm sorry. That's the YM. Yes, there it is. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Yes. Like I remember that's the YM. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So we pushed up. It wicked above two, but it was stronger when it was running up into those highs, right? Than the NQ right there. See. ES, see, up, pushing like that right there. And NQ was like up, then down, right? But the ES was like up, and then came down on Friday, and uh, what's the name? Like it started dropping on Thursday. All right. Yes. So, not much to mark out on the daily, right? Just the daily, high and low from Friday. Right. That's all I'm gonna mark there on the daily. Let's go back to the weekly real quick, and let's put on a new week opening gap. Tomorrow the 14th. Yes, 14th. Just getting my highs and lows lined up. I like to line them up all the way down to the 1 minute candle. So when I go into the lower time frames, I ain't got these weird lines that's just sticking out in the middle of nowhere like this right here. Like, hey, what is that anchored to? Yeah, I don't like when it be like that. I like for it to be every time frame I go to, I like for it to be anchored to the right candle so I can know exactly where the low and the high is. And I do it all the way down to the 1 minute chart so that no matter what time frame I go to, the low and high is anchored to the right count. It's not sticking like way over here somewhere. All right. So now, again, looking at our daily. Okay, we've already taken out Friday's low. Right, we gap down on the open, and we immediately took out Friday's low. Right, Friday low has been taken out. Y'all hold on for 1 second. Y'all hold Nah, you ain't having technical difficulties, Karen. I'm on mute. I'm on the phone. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. I got a lot going on right now. Got a whole heap going on. My bad for keeping y'all waiting on hold that long. Um, we got all the way down to the daily chart. It ain't much. It ain't much that's to be marked out on the daily chart. So when price ain't really giving me a lot, I just like to go in and look at where we are in price. And right now, looking at our weekly and daily chart, excuse me, we are at all-time highs, and we're just engineering liquidity. Well, Tim, what you mean that we at all-time highs and we just engineering liquidity? Well, we see on the weekly chart, right? Right, when we look at last week's candle, we said that we did take out buy side, but we had roughly a indecision week, right? We opened and closed very near last month's high. I mean, not last month's high. Yeah, last month's high. That is last month's high. Yeah. Yes, last month's high. We opened and closed very near last month's high. And right now we're sitting at a doji on the monthly candle. Right. And what do we discuss whenever we have a doji candle? Well, whenever we have a doji candle, or if we're did I unmute? Did I unmute? Have I been talking all this time for nothing? Can y'all hear me? Oh yeah, I'm good. All right. What do we talk about when we say price is unwilling to leave the opening price, right? That means we're just consolidating, we're chopping, we're engineering liquidity. And we can see here on the monthly candle, right? Price is not willing to leave the opening price, right? At some point we came up here, at some point we came down there, and now we're right there around that opening price, right? When I looked over that a few minutes ago, we were pretty much right at a doji, right? So we just we're unwilling to leave that opening price on the monthly chart. Last week, it was the same thing, right? At some point we went here, at some point we went there, right? But we were just hanging around that opening price, right? We were just hanging around that opening price, right? So we're just there engineering liquidity up here at these all-time highs. Now, the overall bias is bullish. We're in a buy program overall, right? We're in a buy program overall, but if you look at our latest expansion leg of our dealing range on the weekly time frame, it will be from this low up until the high of last week, right? We're in a premium of the latest expansion leg of our overall dealing range, right? Our overall dealing range is from here all the way to there, right? That's the last dealing range that we made going up bullishly, right? Now, when you're looking at your dealing range and you expand outside of it, right? You're looking at that latest expansion, right? You're looking at that latest expansion for your current dealing range. So on our weekly time frame, this is our current dealing range, right? Where are we? We're in a premium, right? We're in a premium for our current dealing range. Okay. Can y'all hear me? I forgot I was recording some videos and my mic was turned down really low. I'm sorry, y'all, if y'all couldn't. It was my mic really low? Because when I be recording the videos, I have to turn the mic down. But when I be on a live stream, I be forgetting I need to turn the mic up. So I don't know. Hopefully that's better. See, mic check 1 2 1 2. Okay, yeah, it sounds good to me. I ain't got nothing to reference it on, but it sounds good right now. But we're in a premium right now, right, of the latest expansion leg for our weekly dealing range, right? When we come down into a daily chart, you can see that we're up here in this premium and we're just engineering liquidity. We're just consolidating, right? So prices up here where you're not trying to make no really one-sided decisions on the daily chart right now, daily or higher. You're not trying to make really one-sided decisions because you're just consolidating, you're just ranging, right? And if you look here, this is that old monthly high, right? What are we doing? We're working that monthly high, right? That's all we've been doing. Go above it, come below it, go above it, come below it, right? We've just been working that old monthly high. Remember them 4 pillars: open, high, low, close, right? The algorithm is going to use those 4 price points on all the different time frames to do what it needs to do, right? And so on the daily time frame, right? So for our weekly time frame, okay, looking at our weekly time frame, this is from a higher time frame perspective. We're all the way up, treetop tall at a premium, right? So we've poked above, right, the high here, right? And we're not showing a willingness to keep going. We're not showing a willingness to go down either. But, right, we're up in a premium, right? So being that we're up in a premium, right, I want to see us pull back to give us an opportunity to buy in a discount, right? Why? Because we're in a buy program, overall buy program. If we look at our higher time frame, we got internal sell side here, right? For the range. This is for our weekly. This is our weekly dealing range, right? The latest expansion leg of our weekly chart, right? And then if we look at a daily chart, right? Our daily chart, we've expanded outside of here. So for our daily chart, right, we could look at this as our range, right? For the daily chart. Why? Because on the daily chart, this is a balanced price range. We've offered buy side and sell side liquidity, and we displaced away from it. So from that low up to that high right there, right? That's our latest expansion for the daily range, right? And looking at the weekly time frame and the daily time frame, that internal sell side liquidity for our weekly range, right? If we trade below that on the daily time frame, right, that brings us back to a discount, right? And if we come back to a discount there, now we've already revisited this fair value gap here, right? So if we came down and didn't immediately reject this low right here and take off, then for the daily time frame, I'll be looking at the discount BISI here, because we've already revisited this BISI, right? We came down there, went up, but this BISI did not create a new BISI. You see what I'm saying? When we hit this BISI here, we did not create a new BISI. We just went up and started to consolidate, right? So right now, this BISI is not making price displace away, right? Only thing this BISI did was send us back to the high, right? Sent us back to the high. It didn't make us displace away. So now it's not showing a willingness to keep going right now, right? Starting to engineer liquidity, okay? So if you're bullish, right, and you start to engineer liquidity, you want to see the algorithm engage the opposite side, right? Because why? We want to see the manipulation, right? We want to see the manipulation and then go. And we're looking at higher time frame charts. So this will be perfect for a pullback, right? Get down below this low. It'd be nice to get all the way to the imbalance, right? That should line up with something on the weekly. Let's see if it does. Weekly. Let's go to the 1 week. And it does. That's our weekly BISI. That's down there. If we put this back on the weekly, low there, right? Discount for the weekly would be repricing below here, right? And that's pretty much the low of the weekly there. Now let's go back to our daily. And that puts us right down into that daily fair value gap there. right? That's the low of the weekly there. That's just below equilibrium of the weekly there, right? So the weekly has a reason to come here. The daily has a reason to come here, but we want to see that support there at that. We don't want to see it coming here. We want to see the support here. Why is that? That's our balanced price range right there. Right. That's our balanced price range there. So we don't want to see price trading below that. We want to see that support there. All right. And then if we did go there from the high all the way down to that low right there, right? That's over 6.5% pullback, right? Coming back down to that fair value gap there, we can get anywhere from 4 to 5% off the high, right? And come back into a nice discount to continue up, right? Come all the way down to the order block, we can get a good pullback. Get a good pullback. Get into pullback percentages. All right. So that's what we are in price, right? We're just consolidating. Those are some higher time frame liquidity points there, right? We got some internal sell side there on the weekly time frame, right? Internal sell side there on the weekly time frame. Trading down here brings us back. Trading down in this area here brings us back into a discount, right? Shorter time frame perspective, right? Looking at our dealing range from last week, right? So if we look at last week's range, go from the lowest low to the highest high of last week, we are in a discount of that range, right? And we're right down there. We gapped open just below the lower quadrant of last week's range, right? So we gapped down to the lower quadrant of last week's range and we took out Friday's low. All right. So we had a discount open. We're in the discount of the range, right? So we gapped down into the discount of the daily range. We gapped down into the discount of the weekly range, right? And then we took out the daily low. So right now we got a discount open and we've taken out the daily low, right? Creating relative equal lows here on the daily time frame thus far, right? This daily candle still has a long way to go, but as of right now, acting like it's trying to engineer some sell side, but we'll see how that plays out. Don't want to try to forecast anything this early in the game, right? Want to wait until the New York open and the New York close tomorrow to see what this day presents. All right. When we look at intraday, let's just go down to a 60-minute chart, right? Looking at a 60-minute chart. 60-minute chart, we are in a sale program, right? 60-minute chart, we're in a sale program, right? On the daily chart, we're still in the buy program, but we're just engineering liquidity. And we talked about that. We're in a buy program, but we just up here engineering liquidity, right? 4-hour chart. On a 4-hour chart, same thing. We're in a buy program, but we're just up here engineering liquidity, right? We're just consolidating, right? When we get to a 60-minute chart, though, the 60-minute chart, we have switched to a sell program on the 60-minute chart, right? Now, for those that don't understand it, let's go back, right? On the daily chart here, right? We're continuing to take out the highs, but we're not coming back down, taking out the lows, right? We're respecting the discount PD arrays. We're respecting the sell side, but we're pushing through the bullish PD arrays and we're pushing through the buy side. And now we're just consolidating. So the buy program is still intact and we're just in a area where we're consolidating now, right? On the 4-hour, right? 4 hours, the same thing, right? We're pushing through the buy side, but we come back to the discount there, right? Then we push outside the buy side again. We come back down to the discount there, right? So the buy program is still intact, but we're just consolidating. We're not breaking back below lows. We didn't come back below this low. We didn't come back below that low. Buy program is still intact, but we're just consolidating. On a 60-minute time frame, right? We come up, right? And now once we took out that high there, right? This low here took out that high there, and then we made a lower low, right? We had relative equal lows that we talked about one day last week, and then a lower high had relative equal lows below us, came up, did not take out that high, took out the low again, right? Took out those equal lows, came up, did not take out that high, came down now, took out the low again. So the sale program is intact. Why? Because we're constantly taking lows, right? And we're not taking highs, right? We're trading up, we're respecting bearish PD arrays, right? Come up here to the rejection block there, come up here to the order block there, come up here to the order block there, right? We're respecting the fair value gap here, respecting the fair value gap there, right? We're respecting the premium PD arrays, and we're pushing through the discount PD arrays. So it is a sale program on the hourly chart here inside this higher time frame consolidation, right? Inside the higher time frame consolidation. So right now, the 60-minute is in a sale program. Same thing with the 15-minute, right? 15-minute still in the sale program, right? 15-minute sale program, 5-minute sale program, right? Still in the sale program on the 60-minute and lower, right? So the 60-minute and lower are in a sale program, right? So if you're in a sale program, what are you looking for? You're looking for price to come back to some type of premium to come down, right? Looking for it to come back to some type of premium and come down. Right now, right? We're still inside the discount of last week's range. We've taken out the low of the previous day's range, right? We were at equilibrium of last week pretty much, right? When we closed pretty much at equilibrium, right? Because this is Friday's range and we closed here. So we closed right there equilibrium, but we gapped down and then took out the low, right? So you didn't have an opportunity to participate in this because we gapped down and immediately took out the low, right? We were in a sale program, right? We traded back up into a premium. And then as we started to trade down, the day closed, right? So when it opened back up, the algorithm just continued its business, came down and took out the low. So now we've reached that objective, right? To take out that low because we was in a sale program. We came here, right? We set the low, right? We came down, we set relative equal lows. We traded up, took out the buy side liquidity. We didn't take out the high of the range. And then we started coming back down toward the engineered liquidity, right? So now we've taken the engineered liquidity inside this last portion of the bearish dealing range, okay? So now we've reached that objective. Now it's time to let price show you what it wants to do next, right? Got to let it set up again because the setup has been complete, okay? Setup has been complete. Now, will it come all the way back up? Will it come all the way back up into a premium to give you an opportunity to trade down? I don't know. It's already taken the liquidity. Now it's time to see what price wants to give you, right? So now, what would you be looking at on the lower time frame, right? On the lower time frame, now we have from there to there, right? That's our latest expansion, right, of the bearish dealing range, right? Remember, we was in a sale program, All right. So we came up to a premium, then we traded down and extended out the low. So now that's the latest expansion leg of our bearish dealing range. All right. So now you're watching price inside this range here. This is like on a 5-minute time frame, right? So if we go up to a 15-minute time frame, right? The 15-minute time frame here, right now, this high right there, right? We've already traded up into that SIBI there, right? Didn't trade into that breakaway gap, right? So if we trade above that high right there, right, then I'll be looking at the relative equal highs here, because the hourly does have a reason to come here. There's a fair value gap there on the hourly time frame, right? The hourly does have a reason to come there, right? But we've already taken out the low, right? So since we've taken out the low, this is an anticipatory reactionary point, right? We've taken out the daily low, right? We have a weekly low right there. So if we take out this daily low and take out this weekly low, and then we trade all the way back up here, I'm looking at some liquidity up there, right? Because that's too far to come all the way up here, to this fair value gap after we've taken out this low, right? Too far. Even if we don't take out this low, and if we don't take out this low and we engineer the sell side, then I can see us coming up here taking out this daily high, or this high right here, coming back to the upper quadrant and then coming back down to that. But if we take that low and then come all the way back up here to this fair value gap, I want to see that be used as an inversion fair value gap. Right. But that's what I'm looking at in price right now. Just kind of sit back and see what price got to offer, because we've already taken the low, right? We've already taken the low. We're in a discount, right? So I'm not interested in trying to short in a discount. I'm not interested in trying to short in a discount. Price is heavy, so I'm not really interested in taking anything long. Yeah, but if you were interested in trying to take anything long or trade against the grain, right? This is an hourly chart. This is a 5-minute chart here. Price ain't giving nothing right now that says, hey, go long. But if we traded here, came near. If price came here, took out this low, right? Took out this low, but left this low here. If we did that, say in this manner, let's say we did it in this manner here. Put a high there. Came here and then didn't take out this low, right? If price displaced above this, right, with like a fair value gap here, then I will look to go long here, but I will only look to go long back to there. I wouldn't try to look to go long there. Even if price ran there, right? You say, oh, Tim, we got to have the new week opening gap. I don't care, right? I would only look to go there, right? Especially if we don't take that low. Now, if we came down and we took this low, right? So we came down and we took this low like this right here. And then we came back up, right? Then I will look for, right? I will look for an entry like that to target the high of the new week opening gap, and maybe even that or higher, right? but it's like I'm holding it for shorter periods of time. I'm not looking for the home run because we're in a sale program, right? And um, don't not what invalidates the sale program um, right now is trading back above that high right there. Right, that invalidates the sale program on this time frame here, right? And if we go to a 60-minute time frame, right? On a 60-minute time frame, that's right there. That right there is the internal liquidity where I'm saying we've taken out the daily low, right? We've taken out the daily low. And if we trade back up here, I'll be expecting it to take the daily high. Right. I'll be expecting to take the daily high. Why would I expect to take the daily high? Because this is the weekly low and we're inside of the weekly range. Right. And if we come down here and engineer liquidity on the weekly time frame, right, this will be a time where I would expect it to go to the opposite end of that range. What is this? This is a daily range. So if we take a daily low, right, and engineer liquidity for the weekly, I would anticipate it to take out the opposite end of the daily range, and that would be a time where I would expect that deep retracement to come back down, especially when we're in here ranging like this right here. And while we're in there ranging, then you'll see that we're still on the hourly time frame that would still be keeping the sale program intact, right? Just like we did here when we went up there and took out that buy side, right? Came down here, then we went up there into the rejection block, then we came down here below the low, then we went all the way back up here into the order block, and then we came down here below the low, then we went all the way back up into the order block, and then we came down again. It's like we're continuously pushing down, but we're getting those really deep retracements all the way flirting with the opposite end of the range. All right. That's it, man. That's all I got. Do anybody got anything for me? Man, when I tell y'all that I ain't gonna hold y'all, I've been, it's like, I've been, I was just looking at the chat. I was just looking at the chat. When I tell y'all that I started actually working on this course on the WAP site. When I tell y'all, I need to be charging a few $1,000s for this course. This is working the dog mess out of me. It's not difficult. It ain't nothing difficult, but it's just like, you know how when you have something in your mind and you be like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. It's just going to be simple. And then when you sit down and start doing it and to try to do it on the level that you want to do it on, you start thinking like, oh man, this more work than I expected. Yeah. Yeah, that part. That part. That part. That part. This more work than I expected. Hey, if y'all ain't got that for me, I'm gonna end it there, gang. Uh, if y'all want to stick around, I'll give y'all a sneak peek of behind the scenes of what I've started doing on the site. It's, oh my god, it's gonna be dope. It's nice. It's got the exact feel that I want. It's like a course. It's an actual course. I've I want it to look and feel like a course. Right. That's what I wanted. I want it to look and feel like a course. I don't want it to be just like some YouTube videos, and I want it to look and feel like a course. And that's what it is. It's got that feeling. But when I tell you, when I first started talking about this, I should have started then, because now August 6th coming real fast. August 6th coming real fast. And like I said, I got a lot going on. I was trying to, when I got out of when me and my son got out of service today, I was trying to sit down and work on something today, but I got a lot going on, and I wasn't in the headspace to try to even put nothing into it. And when my mind ain't right, I try not to work on it because I want it to be right. I want it to be right. So hey man, I don't see nothing in the chat. That's it, y'all. Hopefully y'all got something out of this weekend chart prep. I'm like I say, gang, if y'all want to stick around and get a peek behind the iron curtain, stay on the Zoom. And everybody else, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow is Monday, so we got diamond members and mentees have tape reading, right? Have tape reading, and I'll see everybody else at 6 p.m. for the price action recap. Let me stop this YouTube, and then I'll open up my WAP. I almost hit the wrong button. I almost ended the Zoom.